So guys, Bob Arum changes his mind about making Pacquiao Crawford. If you guys remember a couple of months ago, when Bob Arum was asked about Pacquiao and Crawford, let's remember what he said. He said that Crawford and Pacquiao would only end in one way. It's a dangerous fight for Manny's health. You know, and that's what Bob Arum said about the Pacquiao Crawford fight. All of a sudden, he's changed his mind, and now he's saying that he wants to make the fight. So what has changed? It was never a case. I think he just knew that that fight wasn't going to happen. So he was just trying to play it down that, oh, I'm worried for Manny's health. Now all of a sudden, maybe Manny's giving him hints that he'd be interested. He wants to make the fight. You know, and I always said to you guys that Bob Arum would always want to make Pacquiao Crawford. There's no way in hell that Pacquiao, if Bob Arum was to have an opportunity, that he wouldn't make the Pacquiao Crawford fight. And that's basically what he is. He's interested in now making it. He's clearly come out and said he's interested in making the Pacquiao Crawford fight. Doesn't surprise me at all. All promoters are like this. There's no way, because you got to realize, right, the Pacquiao Crawford fight is probably a bigger money fight than the than the Spence Crawford fight. And that's because of Pacquiao's name, because of Pacquiao's appeal. So, if I'm honest with you, I'm not surprised that Bob Arum is interested in making this fight. It's a big money spinner for his fighter. He can pay Crawford some big money. Pacquiao can get some big money. And there's a chance they could make some profit. They could, depending on what both fighters make. The broadcasters could finally make a profit of Terence Crawford. Because so far it's all been lost because Crawford's pay-per-view numbers are terrible. But Crawford don't care because Crawford's getting paid good money for his fights. He's getting paid a couple mil probably every time he steps in the ring. You know, he's not getting paid silly money. He's not getting paid what, 20 million plus. He's not a draw. You know, and if you're not a draw, then no one's going to pay you stupid money, right? For me, I think once Terence Crawford's contract goes up, because of the fact he doesn't do big pay-per-view numbers, I don't even know whether he should sign with PBC. I think he should sign with DAZN because they may be willing to pay him. Again, they might not be willing to pay him that much because they may think that this guy's not going to move the needle in terms of subscriptions. So at the end of the day, when they're paying guys big money to come and fight on their platform, the reason why they're doing that because they think that those fighters are going to move the needle in terms of subscription. Crawford's not going to do that. So I don't know whether anyone's going to be willing to pay Crawford big money. Crawford's a great fighter, but we all know that it's not in this business. It's not just about being a great fighter. Crawford's one of the best fighters in the world, but he's not one of the most paid fighters in the world. You know? So, if he's pound for pound one of the best, he's definitely not getting paid the most. So that's because of his appeal. He's not that exciting. He doesn't have a big fan base at all. So I think the Pacquiao fight is definitely a fight that should be made for him because of the fact that there's no one for him to fight. Crawford's not a draw, so Crawford can't do big numbers and make huge money without having a dance partner. So really the fight that makes sense financially is the Pacquiao fight. And Crawford would be very confident that he can win that fight. I'll do a separate video about whether I think Crawford and Pacquiao is a great fight. I think it is a great fight, and I think Manny can win that fight. I think Manny would go in the underdog, but I actually think Manny can beat him. But in terms of making Bob Arum saying that Manny Pacquiao was dangerous for his health, come on, man. Crawford's not that killer type of fighter where it's going to be dangerous for Manny Pacquiao's health. That's a load of rubbish. And Bob Arum changes his coat color every time. When he was so critical of Khan, right? He used to slam Khan for years, say that Khan's not that great, can't hold a punch. And then all of a sudden, when Crawford was gonna fight Khan, he started saying Khan's a great fighter, he's a great Olympian, he's a great pro fighter, he's had a great career. And the same thing with Pacquiao, and then as soon as Pacquiao left him, Pacquiao Pacquiao is bad for his health if he faces Crawford. Now all of a sudden he's got a chance to make that fight again. He's now back, he'll probably start picking Pacquiao up again. So that's Bob Arum for you. He's been like that for a while now since I've been observing him. This is how he's been. But what do you guys make of it? Leave your thoughts. And guys, remember to please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video. So guys, we know that Manny Pacquiao and Terence Crawford potentially could happen. What chance do I give Manny Pacquiao? I think Manny Pacquiao can beat him. I think Manny Pacquiao showed against Keith Thurman. He's still got a lot left. Manny Pacquiao's got a great resume. Manny Pacquiao's an unbelievable fighter. And I think Terence Crawford's a great fighter, bag of tricks. But I do think there's weaknesses there. He does get hit a lot, and Manny can take advantage of that. I do think it's a lot closer fight than what people think. I think it's probably a tougher fight than Spence. I think Crawford's, like I said, a bag of tricks, but I do think Manny Pacquiao can beat him. And at the end of the day, I think Crawford and Spence are unbelievable fighters, but I do think Manny Pacquiao is at his prime was levels above, and I do think still Manny Pacquiao's got enough in the tank to give these guys a very, very hard fight, and if not beat them. Because I was really impressed with Pacquiao against Thurman. I will say this: I don't think Manny Pacquiao should be taking long out the ring. I don't think Manny Pacquiao should be, because you got to look at it. If Manny Pacquiao fights in July, that would be a year out the ring. And when you're old, 41 years of age, you don't want to be taking long gaps out of the ring, because in terms of ring rust, it's a lot harder for an old man to shake off ring rust than for a younger man. You know, we don't want Manny Pacquiao going in there at the age he is being rusty, being slower, not being as sharp. That's going to affect him, especially against a guy like Terence Crawford, who's very, very sharp, very quick, reflexes very fast. We need Manny Pacquiao to be on his A game, if I'm honest. So, to be honest with you, I think Manny Pacquiao's got a good chance in that fight. If Manny Pacquiao goes and beats Manny Pacquiao, he doesn't go old overnight. I think he has a great chance of beating Crawford. I do. I wasn't saying that a year ago. But I actually think Manny Pacquiao's, from the last fight, again, it was a while back, he looked rejuvenated, he looked fresh, he looked good. Last year was an unbelievable year. Let's not forget, he was in the running for Fighter of the Year, with his win against Broner and Thurman. So, that shows even at 41, he's still got a lot left, and he's still got a lot in the tank. Listen, I'm really excited to see what's next for Manny Pacquiao, because I think he could fight Crawford or Spence. And obviously, there's this possibility that he may fight McGregor. I don't know. But either way, one thing we do know that it's going to be fireworks, and one thing we do know is going to be a lot of hype around the fight. Now they are talking about a Mikey Garcia fight. That fight doesn't excite me as much as Crawford or Spence, if I'm honest with you. But I think it's a big money fight. It's a big fight, especially they're talking about it happening in Arabia, and it's a fight that Manny Pacquiao wins. So the gravy train will probably continue. If I'm honest, I don't think Mikey Garcia will be able to beat Manny Pacquiao, especially at 147. I think Manny Pacquiao will outgun him. But I think the fight that the fans probably want to see is the Crawford or Spence fight. I think that's an opportunity for Manny Pacquiao to cement his put the final nail in the coffin in terms of his legacy. I have said in the past that I would love to see Crawford and Spence fight and then Manny fight the winner for the undisputed, because it's the only thing Manny Pacquiao hasn't achieved, becoming undisputed champion. But it's not an essential thing for Manny Pacquiao to achieve. Was Floyd ever undisputed champion? I'm not sure. But still he's regarded as one of the greatest. You don't have to be undisputed champion to be one of the all-time greats. But it would just be something extra for Manny to have on his resume. Already stellar resume. It'd be something to add to that wonderful resume that he's already got. But in terms of beating Crawford, I think he can beat Crawford. I have seen holes in Crawford's game that certain fighters have exploited, and I think Manny Pacquiao is a lot better than the fighters that have exploited those holes. And Manny Pacquiao could exploit those flaws and even go one step further and beat him. So it's interesting times. What do you guys think? Do you think Manny Pacquiao can beat Terence Crawford, or do you think that ship has sailed and Terence Crawford's just too young, too fresh, too slick at the minute for Manny Pacquiao? Leave your thoughts. And guys, remember to please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace. So guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. So guys, there's Ellie Setback in an interview with Eddie Hearn said that Errol Spence told Ellie Setback the day before that Errol Spence would want 10 million to face Kell Brook. I'm going to make a separate video about Errol Spence. I don't know whether all is well after the crash. if I'm honest with you. And Kell Brook kind of tweeted to Errol Spence, "Are you all right, pal?" Because I don't know, he tagged Kell Brook in something and saying, "Thanks to Kell Brook, I won them." But forget that a second. I want to talk about whether Errol Spence is serious about rematching Kell Brook. I don't think he is. I think he's just putting a number out there because Ellie Setback might have probably asked him a question: would you consider fighting Kell Brook? And he's basically, what he's saying is, if the money's ridiculous, then I'll face him. Otherwise, Kell Brook doesn't really bring anything to the table. Errol Spence has said this many times before, that, you know, he's not interested in a fight with Kell Brook. He doesn't feel that Kell Brook does anything for him, and unless Kell Brook becomes a champion at 154, he's not really interested in facing Kell Brook. And Terence Crawford will face Kell Brook because Terence Crawford hasn't faced Kell Brook before, so you understand why Terence Crawford would be interested in a Kell Brook fight. However, why would Errol Spence, who already went to your backyard and beat you, he wouldn't really be interested in a Kell Brook fight. So the fact that he's asking for 10 million is basically, if the money is too good, then I'll take the fight and beat him again. But if the money's not great, or the money's not, you know, not even great, because, you know, to be honest, 5 million to face Kell Brook would be great. But if the money's not outstanding and Kell Brook doesn't bring anything to the table, then really, I don't really want that fight. I think the only way Errol Spence fights Kell Brook again is if Kell Brook wins a world title at 154, or if for example, Kell Brook fights Terence Crawford and beats him, then, you know, that rematch is viable. Or if, like I said, you know, they're offering him $10 million or something like that, something ridiculous, which, you know, that he's not going to get for a fight with Kell Brook, because firstly, Kell Brook is not that big a star where he can generate those numbers to pay Errol Spence that kind of money. In the UK or in the US, we know that Kell Brook's not known at all. But in the UK, you know, Kell Brook doesn't generate that kind of money where they can afford to pay $10 million. And then remember, Kell Brook's got to be paid. So Eddie Hearn would be with, you know, have a huge loss if he was to give those kind of numbers to Errol Spence. Now, that fight potentially could happen if DAZN are willing to put up the money and have that fight in the US, but I don't think they would, because I don't think that fight moves the needle for DAZN. Like I said, I think DAZN are being more calculated now with their money, because they would still fork out the money before a fight where they think is going to move the needle. Now, for a fight against Kell Brook and Errol Spence, is that fight going to bring in subscriptions for DAZN? Not really. It's not that big a fight. Like I said, Kell Brook's not really that known in America. And Errol Spence, although he's a rising star, you know, to pay that sum of money doesn't really make sense for DAZN for that stature of fight. Yeah, it's not that big a fight. You know, it'd be against a guy. It'd be a fight that would be recycling a fight that's already happened. Yes, I think it's a good fight, but it's nothing more than a good fight. It's not a fight where, you know, you'd be considering paying Errol Spence 10 million for. You know, I think you'd be throwing away money if you pay that kind of money to Errol Spence for a fight like that. And then you've got to also pay Kell Brook. So if Errol Spence is getting 10 million, Kell Brook's going to want a couple mil as well. So, you know, that's 13-14 million. And really, that fight's not going to generate that kind of money. So whether you do it from a pay-per-view platform or whether DAZN do it from the platform that they offer, it just doesn't make sense, because DAZN are all about bringing in subscriptions, and that fight to me doesn't really move the needle for them. That money that Errol Spence is demanding is unrealistic, and the reason why he's demanding it, because he doesn't really want to fight Kell Brook. He feels that he's already beaten Kell Brook, and Kell Brook doesn't really offer him anything and doesn't bring anything to the table, which, you know, is a fair point from Errol Spence. He doesn't really bring anything to the table. He's already beat him. Why face him again? You know, Errol Spence is more looking for the fights against Terence Crawford and Manny Pacquiao, where he wants to unify and become undisputed. You know, he's not really interested in a fight with Kell Brook again. But like I said, if the money's too good, he'll consider it. Or if Kell Brook wins a world title, he'll probably consider it. But leave your thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think. And guys, remember to please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video.